Sea of Thieves almost ruined their own game. Or should I say, Rare, the team who created Sea of Thieves, almost ruined their own game. But why? And what happened? Well, it wasn't on purpose. Rare actually did most things right, but when the time came, they tripped over the very success of Sea of Thieves they built themselves. So how did one of the most popular Xbox games almost get ruined? To understand how, we have to go back to Sea of Thieves' development. Before Sea of Thieves, Rare was known for big titles such as Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong Country, and Diddy Kong Racing. But there's one thing that Rare has never done, and that was make a live service game. And they dared to make that ambitious dream come true. So that's what Rare set their sights for. They decided on an open world, multiplayer live service pirate game where you get to make your own stories with other players in-game. And they named it Sea of Thieves. This idea was unveiled in the trailer for Sea of Thieves at one of gaming's biggest expos, E3. May he rest in peace. And it completely blew up. An open world multiplayer pirate game turned out to be attractive to a huge audience. Because of that, for a couple years after E3, Rare tried to market the game and gain hype for Sea of Thieves as much as they could. They made developer updates on YouTube talking about what they were currently working on for the game. They did competitions where the winners would get to fly to England to do playtests for Sea of Thieves, and even released another trailer at E3 a year later. The marketing worked, and Rare gained significant interest in the gaming space. Was Rare getting close to conquering their goal of a live service game? But when Rare was at the top of it all, the dominoes started to fall. Now, back when Rare was in the early stages of designing the game, they included a whole bunch of features in the alpha game that they wanted to add into the final game. But years later, when they started to build the final game into the new Unreal Engine, they realized that they couldn't include every feature they built because Unreal couldn't handle it. So Rare, after building a game from the ground up for almost 5 years, had to tear Sea of Thieves apart feature by feature. What core things did they want to stay in the game for launch, and what features did they have to take out of the game for release day? Some things like volcanoes, ship fire, and falling masts were just some of the unfortunate features taken out by the launch game. After all was said and done, Rare looked at the game and knew that they were going into release day without all of their features, and this made Sea of Thieves a pretty bare-bone game. Not only that, but Rare hyped up the game so much that they had players that were waiting at the edge of their seats ready to play Sea of Thieves. And now those hundreds of thousands of players were at risk of being let down by what the game was stripped down to. At least, Sea of Thieves thought there were only going to be hundreds of thousands of players on release day, but they were way off. Xbox had released a new subscription called Game Pass that allowed hundreds of paid games to be available free to its subscribers, and Xbox liked Sea of Thieves so much that they decided it was going to be the forefront of Game Pass. Before, Rare had thought maybe hundreds of thousands of players were going to play on release day, but during this time, Game Pass already had millions of subscribers, which meant Sea of Thieves would be available to millions of people, not just a couple 100,000. But the servers weren't prepared for millions of people, so Rare was going into release day with a bare-bone game and servers that wouldn't be able to hold the millions of players that were going to play Sea of Thieves on release. Rare held their heads low, but trudged on, still wanting to achieve success in the first live-action game. But before Rare could actually prepare for this, release day had come. Millions of players downloaded the game and started sailing the seas with their friends and making their own stories. While the game was met with some praise, the game would just as soon be met with some harsh reviews. Players, while having fun in the first few hours, had started to feel that the game became repetitive. They were given only a certain amount of voyages available and one world event to do, and the only thing players could fight was only sharks and krakens, skeletons, and each other. There was no variety in the game, and it clearly showed. Not only this, but since Rare wasn't prepared for the amount of people that wouldn't be playing on launch, servers for Sea of Thieves were met with horrible lag, bugs, and even crashes that would cause you to lose all your hard-earned loot. And that was if you could even get into the game. Players that had downloaded the game on launch weren't even able to get into one of the most anticipated games, meaning players' anxiety to play the game turned into anger for Rare because they couldn't play. So while the game was praised for its storytelling and multiplayer abilities, they were all overshadowed with harsh reviews across the board. Most players turned the game off after having played it for a couple days and didn't even consider revisiting Sea of Thieves again. But Rare wasn't known to throw in the towel and call it dead on launch. Rare couldn't let go of their dreams that easily. Sea of Thieves posted developer updates on their YouTube channel to let players know that their issues had been heard and what actions they were planning to take to combat the lag, bugs, and crashes. Because of the feedback of the community, Rare was able to roll out weekly updates patching any large bugs that could stunt the player's experience. Though this didn't stop the feeling of repetitiveness, and that would feel the same for a while, but larger content updates would soon roll out to bring those lost players back. And now Sea of Thieves successfully has millions of players every month. And as we know it, Sea of Thieves became one of the most successful games made by Rare, achieving their dream of making a live service game for everyone to enjoy. And hey, if you like this, come follow me on my Twitch where I might be streaming Sea of Thieves right now. And if you want to know the secret that could give you amazing canon name in Sea of Thieves, then click on this video right here and learn all about it.